Hello and welcome. Appreciate you joining me this afternoon for our presentation on the floor below, Debunking Impact Acoustics. My name is Kevan Mann, Business Development Manager for SoundSeal. We're going to spend some time this afternoon learning more about underlayments and different test methods that are effective to understand and measure the acoustics from floor to floor. This is meant to be an educational session and also can be interactive to a point. If you have a question, please type that question in the question bar of the taskbar for GoToWebinar, and I will be glad to get to the question probably more towards the end of the presentation as I'm wrapping up if you do have any of those questions. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So the first slide here is basically just to show the subjects that we're going to cover in today's presentation. First, we're going to cover impact noise and also the blocking of the impact noise. We're going to talk about the industries affected, the building code requirements that call out these types of acoustical requirements, and a multitude of tests, acoustical tests that are run and performed in order to gain more insight into these areas. And we're going to end with just some Impacta product solutions, which are products that SoundSeal manufactures that can be good solutions for different problems that you have acoustically. So first, we're going to talk about impact noise, which is also known as structure-borne sound. It can be footfall noise, moving furniture, dropping a ball or weight. It travels through the floor ceiling assembly. And resilient materials are critical for that noise mitigation from floor to floor. And most of the sound control actually does come from the assembly. But if you add underlayments, you kind of get that extra boost. So you basically will see, kind of a large, difference just from the floor ceiling assembly itself. Maybe you'll end up with an IIC of 50, which is pretty well known as standard. And then adding the floor topping and the underlayment could add, 3 to 6 or more IIC points to kind of get you where you need to be for an individual project. And we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. So first off, we're going to talk, in addition to the impact noise, we're actually going to talk about blocking as well. So the chart that's referenced there is kind of nice as it shows you just some of the different floor ceiling combinations that are used out there that will get you to some different IIC values. So IIC standing for Impact Insulation Class, determined by ASTM E492, which we will cover that test method in a little bit. Also note that the addition of the underlayment and finished floor can be all that's needed to get that number. So if you look from the concrete floor with floated hardwood flooring, and then maybe the concrete floor with proprietary floor underlayment and finished flooring as well, can get you kind of that extra mile to get you to that 50 to 60. So the industries that are affected, really it's anywhere where there's multiple floors, and maybe that you're going to have a weaker floor ceiling assembly. There's going to be tons of opportunity for the impact noises to transfer from floor to floor. But just to name some specific kind of industries, is hospitality is a big one. If you're ever working with hotel projects, this is very, very important, especially as they're switching from carpet to LVT type flooring or a luxury vinyl tile. It's very essential because the carpet was getting them the number they needed before, and then they remove the carpet and replace it with a different, a harder floor topping, and you end up getting a lot more transference of sound. Multifamily residential is big. When you think about education and dormitories and medical, all those are areas where you're going to have rooms where you need to have high levels of concentration. And so in order to mitigate that noise between floor to floor, it can be essential for that productivity and to make sure that things go well. So next we're going to get into the building code requirements. So this is taken directly from Chapter 12, Section 1206 for the sound transmission from the International Building Code. So it's 1206.3 structure-borne sound says floor ceiling assemblies between dwelling units and sleeping units, or between a dwelling unit or sleeping unit and a public or service area within the structure, shall have an impact insulation class rating of not less than 50 or not less than 45 if field tested when in accordance with E492. So that, again, excerpt taken from the IBC or International Building Code. The field requirements are 5 points less than the lab results, and I want to explain why. Labs will have a perfect temperature and humidity condition along with an isolated chamber. So they have the best case scenario results. You'll always see kind of the best possible scenario when you're doing a lab test, because all of those things work together for a perfect result. The 45, 50 is really kind of, or sorry, when you're talking about field requirements, it's usually 5 points less, because when you're in the field, you're not going to have those ideal conditions. And so when you don't have the ideal conditions, there's an allowance of 5 points less than a lab result. 45, 50 is really a bare minimum when you're talking about, you know, speech privacy and different things like that through the from floor to floor. But so it is, you typically do want something higher than that, but 50 being a bare minimum. So I want to talk about the HUD codes as well. So these have a little bit more detailed requirements when you're looking at multifamily projects, and they define 3 different grades of acoustical environments for these multifamily projects. The first grade is a luxury rating. It's applicable to quiet locations, and the recommended interior noise environment is characterized by a 32 dBA. So dBA refers to an A-weighted decibel measurement, and that being the loudness of sounds in the air as perceived by the human ear. The grade 2 is an average rating, so it's applicable to an average noise environment, which should not exceed 37 dBA, and the minimum requirement being a 42 dBA. So this chart is nice. It defines HUD codes with the luxury, average, and minimum, so you can kind of see a little bit better when in specific applications, when, you know, a bedroom above a bedroom or living room above a bedroom, etc. You can see that the IIC range is actually anywhere from 50 to 65. So 65 is a pretty, I would say it's a beefy assembly in order to get something that high. You're also going to have, you know, possibly an underlayment and floor topping that will help to add to that. Sometimes you also look into other types of, you know, maybe like a sound mat or something like that as well. They would go maybe underneath a gypsum concrete pour. There's all kinds of different options, but you wouldn't see that as often with a concrete, like I say, a 6-inch concrete slab application. So how do we determine all these numbers? You know, we've seen a lot of numbers so far. We want to kind of get into the meat of the testing. So first off, we talked a lot already about ASTM E492, which gets you an impact insulation class value. The measurement of impact noise and structure-borne noise is displayed using that impact insulation class value, or IIC value. And it's determined by ASTM E492, which is the standard test method for laboratory measurement of impact sound transmission through floor ceiling assemblies. And this is done with a tapping machine, which we pictured there on the side. The tapping machines are standardized and calibrated instruments that continuously strike the floor while the sound level measurements are recorded. The standard test for IIC uses a tapping machine that lifts and drops the 5 steel hammers on a floor 10 times per second, and you measure the sound pressure levels in the room below at specific frequencies. So the higher the IIC, the better the attenuation of the impact sound. With 50 dB usually considered the minimum for the guest satisfaction, which we've already kind of covered. The IIC test method ignores sounds generated at the lower frequencies below 100 hertz. There are some groups that, you know, are looking for more detailed information from the lower frequencies as well. It can be a hot topic, but that's not typically addressed in the standard that is addressed for the lower frequencies, which do incorporate the footfall noise. So if you look at the chart that we have here, maybe it's a little small, but it has our impact insulation class value for our CeraZorb HD product over a wood assembly. So this is just one measurement that is taken. You can see that the 3rd octave band frequencies that were measured from 100 hertz to 3150. And then you have the actual levels that were taken, and then the average, which becomes the impact insulation class. So talking a little bit more about E492, I wanted to kind of show a little bit about how the lab functions. So this is pictured in this picture here is the lab opening where the floor ceiling assembly testing takes place. Assemblies are typically built either in place or outside the chamber and rolled in. it's pretty impressive when you see labs that are set up where they actually have this giant, 10 by 12 or something assembly that's very thick and built up, and then actually take that and put it on a giant wheel system and wheel it into the lab and drop it in place and then seal the perimeter. And then the floor toppings might already be on there and the underlayments, and then they perform the test. They put that the hammers on top there and run the tapping machine on top, and they run the test. So assembly openings are pretty deep. They're usually 18 inches or more to accommodate multiple assembly types. You're not always just going to have a concrete slab that's 4 inches to 10 inches. You're also sometimes going to have a TGI wood joist kind of assembly or something else, or like a 16-inch open web truss. So you're going to need to have a pretty deep opening for that. And actually, you're going to be taking measurements not only like IIC, but you also get delta IIC and STC measurements in this vertical chamber as well. And we'll get into more about what that is. In fact, we're going to talk about delta IIC next. So as I mentioned, we're going to talk through delta IIC. The delta IIC is the most honest measurement of how the underlayment product can enhance an assembly. And the reason I say that is because the way the test is performed, it's always with a 6-inch concrete slab, a bare slab. So you kind of have that perfect baseline of it's always going to perform about this as the slab by itself. And then you're going to add the floor topping and the underlayment. And once you do that, then you'll get a full measurement of the difference between, or the delta between, the IIC without anything on the slab and then the products added onto the slab. And I took this illustration from the HUD code below and kind of highlighted that 6-inch concrete slab area so you can kind of get a better understanding of this, of how this works. So the 6-inch slab might be an IIC of 34 by itself. And then once you add the product, a good delta would maybe be like a good delta IC might be 20 to 25, anywhere in there. So you'll see that if you add that delta to the IIC, let's say a 20 to that 34, you'll get a 54. And so that'll end up being what you would expect to see as an improvement from that product being added to the bare concrete slab. So ASTM E90 is also kind of a vital measurement for floor ceilings. People don't maybe think about it as much, and maybe sometimes the manufacturer might be more fixated on just getting the impact values and maybe getting the delta impact values, but it's actually pretty essential as well to get the airborne sound measurements. So STC stands for sound transmission class, and this it's a standard test method for laboratory measurement of airborne sound transmission loss of building partitions and elements. And it not only applies, you might think of this for like walls, windows, things like that as a horizontal transmission, but this also does apply to a vertical transmission as well. If you think about it, if you ever stayed in a hotel room and you heard people speaking above you and you heard them very clearly, that is an instance where you're going to want to add more of a product in between the floor ceiling assembly to mitigate that sound as well. And another common misconception is that STC and IIC are interchangeable. They are not. They are very different and can be affected by a lot of different factors. When you're talking the airborne sound, or if you picture voice or music or just sound in that mid-range type frequency, while impact is more low frequencies to cover that, the sound of a footfall or something like that. Ways to kind of block that or bring that back a little bit for the airborne sound is to use airspace, mass, structural discontinuity, sound absorbing materials in the cavities. All those things can be helpful. And the focus is on slightly higher frequency range than the IIC, like I said, mid-range or voice. And I like the chart to the side. It kind of shows you, what an STC rating of a 25 does. You can hear normal speech easily through that. And then if you're looking at an STC rating of 55 or 60 plus, you can be shouting and not hear it through the assembly. So This can be an additional really good value to have for flooring assemblies as well. So to kind of describe the standard a little bit, the sound transmission class is a single numerical rating derived from sound attenuations at various third octave band frequencies, and it's a measure of the average noise reduction in dB for sound, or decibels for sounds that pass through the assembly. So in the picture on the side there, it's probably not the best illustration because it's showing the sound going from down to up, when typically the measurements are going to be up to down. If you're going to be testing for an IIC value, you're probably not going to reset up the product to kind of go backwards with it. So this is typically going to be the opposite of what you see in the picture. And the way it works is pink noise, which is the full range of sound frequencies, are projected in the upper chamber and then measured in the lower chamber to see how the reduction that assembly that's in between provides. And then so you'll come up with the airborne sound for the sound transmission loss, or the or the STC of the product. So typically, again, 50 is another good value for that, but sometimes you're going to want a little higher than that for full comfort within that room. So this is kind of a newer standard that I'm not super familiar with, but I just wanted to point out while I'm talking about test standards that apply to flooring type products. This is called ASTM E3133, and this is the standard test method for laboratory measurement of floor impact sound radiation using the tapping machine. So this is just another additional piece of information that you can get when running an impact insulation class test. It's interesting because what it has to do with is the impact sound radiation of the actual, like the sound generated from the tapping machine inside of the test room, which is very, very different than what, than if you're taking measurements, you know, from down below and things like that. You're actually seeing how much is that sound radiating from this hard floor topping within the actual chamber or the room itself. So that's kind of critical to understanding too, additional information about why is this sound traveling downstairs. So now that we've covered all of the test standards that I was planning to get into today, I do want to talk about some products that SoundSeal has implemented that we have fully tested. We have our results on the website, so you can check that out if needed for projects. But today I want to get into some of the different products that we have available. The first one is our ProBase rubber underlayment. This is a product made from recycled rubber tires and different things like that. So it does qualify for LEED credits. It can be installed floated or in a double glue system. You can use it under hardwood, laminate, tile, or stone. It's excellent for use in lightweight construction due to its weight and mass, and it comes in multiple thicknesses. I think we have anywhere from 3 millimeter up to a 12 millimeter. And one thing crucial to understand about, you know, the thickness of this product as it gets thicker and heavier, you're actually going to be, when you're adding that mass, you're actually adding some additional STC performance as well. So maybe the delta doesn't change that much. You'll actually see in this slide, you know, a 3 millimeter delta IIC, you get a 21, and then a 12, you only get a 23, which is actually a very respectable number. But when you're thinking about the STC from that mass as well, you're going to be able to block more airborne sound as well as structure-borne sound, which is a very big advantage. So if you're in, if you're doing some high-end apartments or something like that for a project, you're going to want to maybe consider doing the heavier product so you can block not only the impact but also the voice. It can be a very, very good thing to do. So talking about more of the products, so staying kind of on the rubber, we have our ProBase Sport product as well. This became very popular of recent, over the past couple of years, with more hotels trying to, you know, better their fitness centers, with people doing home gyms and different things like that. We have a ProBase Sport product, which comes in 19 colors, and you can also do custom options. It's very durable and slip resistant and absorbs shock really well, prevents you know, divots and dents in the floors from weights and different things like that you're going to typically see. And our sizes range from a large to an extra, extra large, depending on the durability needed. You know, the large might be fine for just like a home gym, but you might need the XXL if it's an Olympic gym weightlifting or something like that, or if it's maybe like a CrossFit where you're just looking at very heavy weights being dropped on the floor. So we do have plenty of options for that as well. So I want to talk a little bit about synthetic underlayment. This is a really cool product that's becoming much more popular of late as well. So this is a synthetic underlayment that will not rot, and it resists mold and mildew, and it's antimicrobial. So these are all really great things. It's a great substitute for cork flooring, and it is an excellent option for radiant heat systems as well. We worked with several manufacturers before, like Warmly Yours, I think it is. And so like there's different ways that the radiant heat systems work really great with the synthetic underlayment. It just kind of naturally fits very well with that. The low density or LD version is great for under engineered hardwood, and the HD version works really well for ceramic tile, natural stone, some of the heavier products. And actually, we ran a very custom test with this product, and we found that we're willing to back up a light commercial rating for the CeraZorb HD to be used with an LVT or luxury vinyl tile product. We ran a test where it tested the joint cracking, where the interlocking tiles come together with our underlayment, and it held up extremely well in extreme conditions. So we're very happy to say that and be able to recommend this product for an LVT application as well, which when you're talking about the price point for this being really great, and it's very lightweight, as you can kind of see on this slide. We sell them in 4x4 sheets. They're easy to install and inexpensive to ship because they're lightweight. Like I said, again, great substitute for cork underlayment. And it's crazy. You can see the delta IICs you get with this product, again, on a 6-inch concrete slab, just the same as we did with the rubber underlayment. It performs on par, if not better, actually, based on the thickness for this product. So this is a really nice substitute, for cork, but also for rubber. In a lot of applications, we recommend it. So definitely consider this for projects where you're going to need something more lightweight and easy to get to install. So this is a product I'm really passionate about. Is our Jumpax product. It's a self-leveling. It's really interesting. A free-floating, dry leveling, fast-track underlayment system. Super popular with the hospitality industry. They love it because they can flip a hotel room in one day and get a customer in there that night. So tear out the old carpet or flooring, put down this product. It gives a really great self-leveling system, and then install the floor topping, and like I said, and get those guests in there that same day to flip the hotel room and not lose any money. So contractors love this product because of how easy it is to use, and it creates a super smooth joint-free surface for a direct glue down of a variety of resilient floor coverings. This is a great one for LVT. In addition to that CeraZorb HD product that we have. The floor leveling is up to 1/8 of an inch over 3 feet and up to 1/4 of an inch over 10 feet, which is very comparable to similar products. And when you're not having to do a gypsum concrete pour or something like that, this is going to level itself. So you save time and money on the installation. And it does come in it's a 10mm system, a 3/8 inch system. So if you look at the acoustical testing on this, a 10mm product gets a delta of 25 and an IIC of 53, which is very respectable. And I'm proud to see this product and to be selling it. We've done a lot of good projects with this one in the past, and continue to use this product. So just to kind of conclude and wrap things up today, that there may be pets and children and people on the floor above, but SoundSeal's Impacta Underlayment solutions can fit all applications. And you can check out our website I mentioned earlier for a full listing of our underlayment products and test reports for multiple floor ceiling assembly applications. So, if you need information on a 6-inch concrete slab, or maybe you need something on a 16-inch open web truss, and want to see how our product performs in these applications, we typically will have a test report loaded right there on the website that you can download. We like to try and be very open with our customers so they can get a good look into how the actual products perform. I have at the bottom there, feel free to reach out to me directly with any questions or anything like that. And in order to do that, I have to show you the last slide, which is I'm going to have my contact information. So please feel free to write this down and reach out to me directly. Like I said, if you have any questions, please check out our website and follow us on social media. We have a LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. And so you can kind of see all the new things we're getting into, and we can kind of keep you up to date with those things. So, hey, I very much appreciate your time today. I see I don't have any questions, so I'm going to wrap this up, but I do appreciate it. And everybody take care, and hope to hear from you soon. Thank you very much.